If GPU mining is dead and Nvidia's RTX 4000 is coming out next month, why are GPUs now, the RTX 3000, still so expensive? There are actually a couple things you may not know about that are pulling at these prices. First, of course, crypto mining absolutely ended, and that probably caused a lot of issues in the market. I mean, Nvidia's sales were really down a huge amount. EVGA left. Who knows if it's related or not? They knew that the market was going to be in really dire times. Not to mention RTX 4000, the 4090 is going to be released pretty soon, coming up in October. Now, GPU prices went down a pretty large amount from where they were, don't get me wrong, but prices are still way too expensive for RTX 3000. There's a very good number of reasons for that. First, let's address the RTX 4090 and the two 4080s that Nvidia announced. They are pretty expensive and they're priced well above what the RTX 3000, most of them, are going for now. Everything has gone down from the 3090 Ti, originally $1,999. It's all the way down to around $1,099 or even $999 in some cases. It may go even a little bit lower. So that's sort of the price delta that we're seeing between these GPUs. It's obvious Nvidia is keeping the RTX 3000 relevant this generation. They said it so themselves, and they've said many things themselves that actually answer a lot of these questions. They are limiting artificially the amount of GPUs in the channels, and by the channels that actually make it out to distributors and stores and eventually to you. They had way too many RTX 3000, so they're actually holding back. That way there's going to be a much more limited number. We're starting to see the effects of this, and it's translating to prices not going down nearly as fast as before. Of course, used market prices are going to be lower than new retail prices, and those usually sort of follow each other. As soon as the retail price goes down to a certain level, you're definitely going to start to see used prices go down even further. If a brand new 3090 Ti is $1,000, there really aren't supposed to be any $1,000 3090s on the used market. You may see them, but they're not really going to be selling in any large numbers. They're going to start going down to 900, 800, maybe even 700 in some cases. So that's one of the biggest reasons you're still seeing some pretty high GPU prices. Nvidia stopped producing more GPUs. Of course, a second major reason, and that's tied to the first one, EVGA stopped producing GPUs in general. They still have RTX 3000, but they're holding a lot back for their warranties in the future to be able to replace GPUs during an RMA. And they've said they're no longer producing any more new GPUs for Nvidia, such as the RTX 4000. So whatever inventory that they currently have, they said they're probably going to sell through it by the end of the year. Who knows how quickly or slowly that may happen, but if they're not producing and putting new GPUs on the market, the price may start to actually go back up, opposite the trend that we saw the last few months. They wanted to sell these GPUs at any cost for a while, so they went down to what we can consider a bare minimum that probably Nvidia and the AIB partners are willing to accept. As far as we can tell, the prices were already way too low from the viewpoint, of course, not of the consumer, but of the viewpoint of EVGA and Nvidia. And EVGA said that they were losing money on each GPU that they sold at those reduced prices, especially the 3090 Ti, 3090, 3080. Those GPUs mainly were losing money for EVGA. And if that's the case with EVGA, you can expect all of the other Nvidia partners like Asus, MSI, Zotac, any of them, they're going to be losing money as these prices are forced down through all of these market pressures and conditions. So they're not going to want to sell nearly as many and produce any new ones. They just want to get rid of the stuff that they currently have. And while at first we did see a lot of GPUs on the shelves, we're definitely starting to see less and less of them going around, not only in the used marketplace from retail channels and things like that, but in actual stores and actual models being replenished. Even in one video, Jay's 2 cents said that the 3080 Ti from EVGA, they didn't even have any more to sell. That's been sold out. So there are definitely going to be some GPUs that just flat out disappear, meaning that their prices, wherever you can still find them, either retail channels or on the used market, are going to start to stabilize and possibly even go up. So the other really big factor here is GPU mining. If GPU mining is really dead, why are GPU prices not getting flooded on the secondhand market to the extent that we expected? Don't get me wrong, they're definitely a lot of GPUs on the market, but people aren't really buying them at some of the prices that are up. Maybe people got used to high prices for the last 2 years, and the people selling them just don't want to do a fire sale or sell them with that much velocity. So they're holding on to these GPUs, hoping that something changes. If you guys ever read around the different mining forums, and a lot of them are tied with gamers too, so no need to vilify any particular angle. I like to be fair and objective on both sides. Most people have given up, and you can tell by the numbers, a lot of them have quit. But perhaps Ethereum going proof of stake has been such a shock to people that were used to the last few years mining pretty profitably. They still want to hold on and see if something comes up, something changes where all of their GPUs can now be used. And maybe in their viewpoint, it is not the best time to sell their GPUs because, of course, with the new generation coming out, there's always a lot of price adjustments that go on as well. So there's certainly some of that happening. Maybe as the months go on and if GPU mining really stays down and it doesn't pop back up, I think you're going to start to see even more of that market sort of get flooded with these used GPUs. But if you look now, there are a lot of GPUs online. They're just not selling at the same pace, and that's going to be two issues. First, people are waiting for RTX 4000, so gamers are a little hesitant. It's a very transitionary period right now, so they may not really know what to do. Everybody's sort of waiting and watching, and that's going to include the crypto miners who may not really be too sure of what's going on, and they may not want to sell their GPUs. After all, they went through a lot of trouble of building their rigs and everything like that, so there's always a chance something may pop up and make it profitable again, and I'm sure a lot of them are still speculating and not too sure what to do. So that may change until people actually really have it sink in if it's not going to come back. And then you may see a large amount of GPUs being sold into the market. So that's certainly going on. And of course, gamers are always hesitant to buy mining GPUs. They think they might have been misused or used a little bit too roughly. So there's certainly a lot of issues there. Therefore, keeping some of these retail prices fairly stable, especially with lower inventory. So we're definitely going through a pretty weird time right now. The GPU prices are not going down as fast as they were before. It's possible after RTX 4000 comes out, as per Nvidia's plan, they may keep around the RTX 3000 at a certain minimum price to sell them alongside the RTX 4000 series. The bad news here is, look at what they did with the 4080 12GB. That GPU should have been a 4070 or something along that level, but now, since they have so much RTX 3000 inventory, they're going to use the stuff like the 3080 Ti, 3080, 3090 Ti. Those are going to shift down and be sort of the lower end or the mid-range RTX GPUs in the lineup to go along with RTX 4000. So you shouldn't expect a 4060 to come out anytime soon. So it may be hard to expect a 4060 or even a 4070 to come out anytime soon. I think Nvidia, even the 4070, they may delay it for a while, because if that came out at a fairly affordable price and it performs really, really well, it's absolutely going to kill the RTX 3000 market even more. Nobody's going to want to buy a 3070 Ti, a 3080, or even a 3090, even if they're much cheaper, because a 4070 may offer much newer technology with DLSS 3.0. It may also just give them a lot more performance, which, while we don't expect it to be the $499 price of the 3070, maybe it might come in at like $599, which would still be a great performing to the price GPU if it ends up being better than like a 3080 was and a little bit higher level like that. So we don't expect to see that anytime soon. Therefore, keeping RTX 3000 prices fairly stable. So that's something that is either good or bad depending on the viewpoint that you want to look at it from. If you have your GPU already, you may not really care, but if you're looking for a GPU, possibly prices are kind of stagnant right now. We're going to have to see what happens after RTX 4000 actually starts to hit the shelves. You may see sort of a rush of cheaper GPUs as people upgrade, but then later on, if Nvidia really artificially limits the production of RTX 3000 and 4000, you may start to see these prices stabilize and not really get that much lower. The CEO of Nvidia himself said that we shouldn't expect Moore's Law and lower prices going forward in the future. Everything is getting more expensive, and unfortunately, I think that's going to include the current generation of RTX 3000 because they are no longer the MSRP of when they came out. Even those went up a considerable amount. Right, so let me know down below what you guys think of current GPU prices. Have you noticed them sort of stabilizing? They're not going down nearly as fast. Remember to subscribe, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.